time real estate agents and like property people have been fooling us into thinking hardwood floors and ceramic tile is like upgraded flooring. And here I am like looking in my house for a place to record, and I realize that I have hardly any carpet, and that's exactly what I need.
Oh my God, I'm not even a big fan of hardwood floors like upstairs in the rooms. I just think it's good for the middle area.
Yeah, and you know, it's like it's not comfortable on your feet, and everyone says it's cleaner. Is it though? I don't even know. I feel clean when I walk on carpet.
And also your socks. We buy like way more socks because they keep getting holes in them. Maybe we're buying cheap socks, I don't know. But our socks are always like, we need to repair them all the time.
Do you have like some sock repair tricks? Because I've never repaired socks, I don't think.
I do. It's called my mom. I gave her thread. I gave her a needle. I said, here.
No way.
Fix.
That's so funny.
That's my trick.
I take that back. I have had my kids repair their big toes going through the holes in their socks because they wear them outside with thong flip-flops. And that's just like is the worst thing for socks. And I've like in a fit of rage said, now you have to fix them. But other than that, I've never actually fixed my own socks. So this is very interesting.
I haven't either. My mom does.
We may have just discovered like a good Etsy sub-market. Like we can put this on TaskRabbit. We'll repair your socks for you. Have the kids make some money for the summer.
And my mom can supervise the operation.
Yes, that's such a good idea. And she knows how to really motivate the young workers. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of It's Your Time to Shine, a podcast about being a mom in a modern world. My name is Juspreet Kaur, and with me is my friend Lisa Vora.
Hi. I never finished why I don't like hardwood. You know why I don't?
Why?
Because it's not cozy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either, and I have a lot of hardwood floor throughout my house.
It looks good. It is aesthetic. It's like a beautiful person without a personality. It's aesthetic. That's what that is.
Okay.
No, but honestly, when we bought this house, like hardwood floor was the big sell. And upstairs, they got all brand new hardwood floor. And the first thing I did is put carpet on them. And first, Samir's like, what are you doing? This is what people like. And I'm like, I don't care what people like. I care about how I feel when I wake up at 2 a.m. and I want to go back to sleep and I want to be comfortable. You know, when I go to the bathroom, right? That's what I care about. And when I did it, he's like, good call.
Oh, really?
Then I found out more and more people actually do like it. Like his family, that hardwood floor in the rooms is much better. In rooms.
Maybe the hardwood floor lobbyists have just been brainwashing us all these years.
Yeah, and I also think there's a thing, right? Like people are like, oh my God, everyone likes it, so I have to like it. I can't admit that I'm the outlier. And it's like, you know, like so social, like peer pressure, social pressure. Like, okay, so it takes one courageous person to admit that they don't like it and everyone will follow. So I am admitting it and you are admitting it.
That's so funny. Okay, wait, have you seen this? I saw this thing in a training video. It was a social experiment a young boy did. He was in 7th grade and he called 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders together into a class experiment at talking about optical illusions. And he showed 3 lines where you could clearly tell, like one was short, one was medium, and then one was long. And he had another line that said, okay, which one, if you were to make an estimate, which one do you think it is? And it's clearly like the shortest line. It matches up with the shortest line in terms of estimating the length. And he has one student in there that is not part of the experiment, and all the other students are in on it. And what they do is, one of the people that's in on it will say something absurd like the longest line instead of the shortest line. And they'll be like, oh, it's the longest. It's C is the answer. And then other students will go, yes, it's C. It's totally C.
Ah, yes, exactly.
And then they see what, if that person who's not part of the experiment, who really is the entire experiment, will speak up. And what they found was only like 1 in 10 times will a student speak up. And it has to do with confidence and group think.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple times, they showed the ones where a couple times someone would speak up in the experiment that they showed, and this was only like 30 kids that they did total, that 1 in 10, it was always a girl.
Wow, that's even more interesting. Yeah.
So 7th grade girls apparently like are willing to speak up and say, have the confidence to speak up and not go along with the group. Everyone else was just like, and then he would go to each person. What do you think? What do you think the answer is? And they're like, C, 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 C. And then they go to that person last and they're like, C.
At some point, you're like, this has got to be a ploy. There's no way. But I got to tell you, honestly, I would have probably gone with it too. And I think I'm a pretty independent thinker, but I'm confident when it comes to like my behavioral opinions and stuff and philosophy. But when it comes to like actual like knowing something, I'm not. And I'm like, maybe I don't know. Oh my God. See?
And you start to question yourself.
I second guess myself. I do. Yeah. But had it been like an opinion, like what would you do, like a behavioral question? I don't care what anyone says. I actually like to go. I'm like, nope, this is what I think. So it just depends on the topic, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And I've been very tired lately, both because of work and just like life has been busy. And I was like thinking two things. What would I do? And I was like, sometimes I don't want to explain my rationalization of why I think a certain thing. So I might just be like, yeah, it doesn't matter, whatever. Sure. Yeah, it's C. Just so you're not the one that has to explain.
Whatever gets you to that answer.
Yeah. But, I was thinking about it. The fun thing was that I was thinking about what my kids would do in that situation if they were in that experiment. And all three of them would definitely have a different answer. I think my girls would both be like, yeah, just go along with the group. And I think Amrik would say, oh, no, it's different because this, like I estimated it using this. I could see the length, blah, blah.
So it's opposite for you.
Yeah, well, I think so. But I was thinking like of the specific rationale that they'd probably give. Bhavneet would probably be like, oh, yeah, I didn't really look at it. Whatever. I don't care. Like I was just talking to my friends. Like I was texting on my phone or I was just talking to my friends.
I didn't pay attention. Right.
Yeah. And then Hudgun would probably say like, oh, yeah, I just said C because all my friends said C. And I didn't want to have the whole discussion because I knew the teacher was going to say like, explain why. She does stuff like that. Like we'll say, hey, why didn't you volunteer for this? She's like, nah, then you got to get up and say your name and what your favorite color is and a little bit about yourself. And I was like, so you should talk about yourself. And she'll say, nah, I don't want to talk about myself right now. Not today. And she just goes about whatever she's doing. Like, oh, okay, conversation's over.
My thoughts on Allie, definitely she would say exactly what everyone said. Definitely.
Oh, really?
No rationale, nothing. I mean, she's still 4, but she would just be like, because everyone else said it. That's it.
The funny thing is, I kind of think it's cool. I think we live in a world with a lot of people wanting to be leaders that don't have enough information. I think we need some followers too.
Allie's definitely a follower, like definitely a follower.
She reminds me of Bhavneet a little bit.
Yeah, when you were talking right now, I was thinking her answer would be Bhavneet and Hargun, like both. Like, oh, I was doing, and she gets distracted so easily, Alyssa. So she's just not, like, it's funny the way she is. She doesn't really pay attention to what's around her sometimes when she's in her little zone or whatever. But when she's with her friends, or especially one-on-one, then she's like 100% there with that person. I guess I'm just boring. She's not. She's like, it's just mom. Forget it. I'm zoning out.
Well, she has access to you all the time, so
True.
You're not a coveted resource yet.
Yeah.
The reason that I am okay with them being like, generalists, so to speak, is that I see with the kids, like, not all of them have that desire to perform. Not all of them have that, like, desire of like, okay, first of all, I have a different answer. Second, I will now go through an exposition of like why my answer is this way. I think it's refreshing that they are willing to just be like, yeah, whatever you want me to say is my answer. Like, can we move on now? I think that's kind of cool.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question though. What if you only had one child? You didn't have the other two. Whatever it is that their behavior is, negative or positive, you're less likely to attribute it to yourself because you have 3 kids. So you can see more of nature versus if you only have one child. I know you wonder how much negative or positive is attributed to you as a parent.
Well, I'm tired all the time, so I don't attribute any of it to me. I just say all of it's nature. No, I know exactly what you mean. And I think it's 2-part, right? Part of it is like having your first child, it's your first time, so you don't know.
Right.
We expect that we have such a profound impact on our child and that we're shaping them. And I believe that we are. I believe we are shaping them. And that's why we have that instinct, that evolutionary instinct to feel that way. But you're right, when you have more than one, and I would say especially true if you have 3, you get to see how, from a nature perspective, the nurturing isn't as much of an impact because you are treating them all the same, more or less, and they are living in the same environment, and yet they still respond in different ways.
Right, exactly.
So I think it's easier to let go of that. I want them to be in my own image, and I want them to behave in a certain way or talk in a certain way. I think people struggle with that, though.
Well, I mean, I'm struggling with that. That's why I asked the question. And I'm not saying like, I mean, I absolutely love Alyssa, but obviously she is shaping into the person that she is. And I always have to be like, oh, okay, is this something I did or is this who she is?
Right. Yeah.
And I just feel like I wouldn't have those questions had I had another child.
Yeah, I think the experiment's just different when you have more data points. So I can get to a conclusion. I can get to the conclusion a little bit faster than you can. But I think there's two things. It's an interesting thing that you're raising too, because we have to be accountable to our child rearing and we have to be accountable to the outcome. Because if you're not doing that, then you'll just say like, oh, well, that's their personality. I can't teach them to brush their teeth. I can't teach them to do their homework. I can't motivate them this way. And so you can't use it as an excuse. But you also can't obsess over it and think like, oh, every single part of her personality is my doing, and anything that I view as a fault needs to be corrected. Like, I think that's what the journey of parenting is, figuring out those little pieces. And for the life of me, my youngest child, I cannot get her to ever say I'm her favorite parent or she loves me the most.
You don't.
I have tried so many different ways of like tricking her, coaxing her, bribing her.
Do one of the other two say you're one of the favorite parents?
Yeah, both of them will say like, oh yeah, you are my favorite, and I'm sure they say the same thing to their dad.
See, you have that. Now, if she was your only kid and she was always daddy, you'd have a complete different attitude towards it, I think.
Oh, yeah. I would just have a mental breakdown probably, right?
No, but I'm saying you put way more of yourself into that one child, because with Allie, she's very even.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, if there are moments where she's more about daddy, then yeah, I get annoyed. I know, I'm not mature.
What you're saying makes total sense. I have gotten to the point where if Budum disciplines Hudgwin and she starts crying, I'll even say, see, this is why I should be your favorite parent. I always love you. And she'll look at me crying with tears coming out of her eyes saying, I hate you, Dad, to saying, Mama, I can't change who I love.
Yeah, I know. She's hilarious. You've told that. She's so funny.
And I'm like, I'm still trying. She's 10 years old. I'm still trying that. But yes, you're right. And I can laugh about it because I know she loves me, and I know that the world isn't, love isn't about absolutes, even though our kids think it is. But you're right. If I had just one child and I had carried her for 10 months and then given birth to her and then dedicated my life to her, I would be seriously offended if she always said that.
Lucky for us, Allie does love both of us the same. She even says it, but a lot of it's me, because it was such a big deal to me. Like, I wouldn't allow it.
You were prompting her. What if you find out 10 years from now that she actually loved you more and she was just too scared to say it because she was reading your teleprompt cards?
Probably. I'm scripting everything. That's actually part of the problem. You know what's funny? That's actually part of the problem. Allie really is exactly like me, because I kind of script things and I kind of produce them a certain way in my head. And if it doesn't go that way, I start to I'm annoyed, right? Like, why isn't it? Like life, right? She does the exact same thing. She's scripting a play date in her head and the way she wants it to be, and it's not, and she can't control what other people are going to do, and she gets upset. So I'm like, Allie, you can't control what other people can do. You can only control your reaction. And then my higher self looks at me and says, same advice. As this is happening, this wasn't part of my production for Allie to be that way. Does that make sense? So we're just alike. We actually are alike.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
We actually are alike. There's somehow a neat little perspective movie thing in here. Anyway.
Yeah, that is really cool. And then does your higher self talk to her higher self and say like, hey, I have to learn this also?
Oh my God, if my higher self spoke to her higher self would kick my higher self's butt. No, but anyway, what I was saying, the story about the loving thing. So I made that like a lesson, she's more about me or daddy. And I was like, no, we're not going to exclude, okay? We're not going to hurt someone's feelings. You're hurting mommy's feelings, you're hurting daddy's feelings. So it kind of actually helped her be very an inclusive personality. And now if you ask her, who's your best friend? Everyone's my best friend. Or I can't compare. Everything's, she's just sweet.
Aw, that sounds boring.
Yeah, then we need a little more boring in our lives.
I'm just kidding. No, your child is perfect just the way she is. And I think that's nice. And like I said before, I do really, work has been super stressful lately. And we're going through organizational changes and stuff. And I hate having those conversations with people. And I realize everyone having a view and everyone being a leader and everyone having a vision for the future is also annoying. it is nice to have some people that are like, yes, what do you need me to do? I will do that.
And also, I was thinking also about like, what are true leaders? If you're a leader, I'm not saying that if you're a leader right from birth, you're not a true leader. But I also think that the best leaders are the ones who also have some sort of compassion for the people they're leading, right? And I think that if you just go right into it, I think you're going to lack that perspective. I think being not a follower, but being a little bit in the background to observe, in the end, if you are a leader, will make you a better leader because you will have that compassion.
And just see things from the point of view of the people that you're leading.
Yeah, totally. And like what you're saying is something that I observe a lot, that some leaders rise to the top and then they lose touch with the people that they're leading.
Right.
And I have a really funny work example that I'm not going to share because I know there's some people that I work with that listen to the podcast. So instead, I'm going to give you a very similar Queen Elizabeth story.
Or just yada, yada, yada the story.
Yes, I'm going to yada, yada the important parts of the story. Okay, so check this out. Queen Elizabeth, for her Christmas message to the Commonwealth, this is something that the monarchs in England have done for centuries. They will, around Christmas time, send out a message to everyone in the Commonwealth. And as she knew that the Prime Minister and the government of England was preparing for Brexit and that it was going to bring about possible economic downturns. So she is sitting on a 24-karat gold-plated piano stool with her gold piano in the background and then gold candle holders on a mantle above a fireplace behind her. And she says, sitting on her gold stool, please prepare for austere times ahead, save money, don't spend, and be ready for anything that comes in the future.
And don't sit on a golden chair.
Yes, I'm like, as you're sitting on your golden chair in front of your golden piano, and I'm like, this is the funniest thing ever. Like, you're so out of touch with the people that you don't even understand what you're doing. And not just that, like, whoever recorded the video didn't say like, hey, wait, maybe we should just put her on like a leather couch or something.
Oh, God. No one would dare to say anything to the Queen.
No, but I mean, you would think that she has like a PR person or something, right? That's like giving her feedback. And the same thing happened at my work. Like someone was talking about being flexible and giving up desks so that we have enough space for everyone to work while they're sitting at this really big mahogany, full built out desk with a full bookcase of books behind them.
But the Queen of England, she's really, I mean, it's amazing that she has these amazing grandsons, but man, she's just a wacko a little bit. And I'm allowed to say it because I'm not in a room with her. Did you know if you're in a room with her and she finishes her food, you have to put down your fork?
No, is that true?
Well, I mean, they were during the royal wedding last year. They were talking about all the little etiquette. So it's one of those little trivia things that I saw. So I was like, no way.
So the meal is done when she's done?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure she waits. She probably isn't a jerk where she just walks in, has a bite and stops. That's something I would do.
But she's also old, and old people eat like birds. Like your parents are staying with you this week. Have you noticed that old people really don't eat anything?
That's true. And they eat very slowly. My dad even commented like, wow, you finished that fast. I was like, I chewed.
Because we're shoveling our food because we're trying to eat in between, like somebody needed something from us next, right?
Allie's actually seen like the way I am with my dad. Like, whoa, I'm just saying, like, I don't think Allie's never seen that dimension of our relationship, you know?
How are you with your dad, Lisa? Tell us the truth.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm not a kid. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't have those fights. But my dad always feels the need to give advice about everything, even though it's not unsolicited advice. I mean, like, it's really not. Like, it's not even a topic of conversation, and he'll just give the advice.
Oh, unsolicited advice is like my favorite kind of advice, though.
Yeah, it's something you did like 5 years ago. Remember how you drove on the road the other day and took a ride? Well, you should have hit the brakes harder or something, you know? So stupid.
Really?
My dad.
And then what's your reaction?
I'm allowed to do the accent. I get annoyed. And then Allie saw me snap at my dad. And he's like, not in front of her. I was like, why? She should know. She should know that I completely disagree with you right now. Because if she disagreed with me, I would want her to tell me. I don't want her to pipe down.
Oh, do you really want her to tell you?
Yes, I always tell her that. I'm very, very honest. I mean, the other day I was actually proud. I had a nice moment. I did something I wasn't proud of, and I wasn't happy. I did something. I don't remember, but I looked at her. I was like, hey, come here. And I looked at her in the eye, right, like eye to eye. And I was like, I have a little secret. She goes, what? I was like, I'm not a perfect parent. Like, I don't know how to do this. This is my first time. So I'm going to mess up. And then I'm like, so with that said, I'm sorry.
You gave her an apology with a disclaimer on it was your lack of experience was the reason.
I always tell her, I ain't got it. I don't know anything. And I'm like, I don't know. Everything I'm doing is the first time. Like, I'm sorry.
Aw, that's really nice, though.
All I can do is own it, you know? So I really,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing I just stand by, just be honest. And I've told you this before. I've told her, just keep your heart clean. Don't hold things in. You know, you don't have to talk to me. You don't have to talk to your dad. You can talk to anyone, you know, your friends, anybody, or you can just do the alley, whatever she does, her alley thing, just any outlet and avenue to release whatever emotional baggage she's feeling. So,
Yeah. Aw, that's nice. On a serious note.
yeah, but anyway, I am very like, she just sees it like it is. She has backstage passes to my brain, to my parenting. So.
I do the opposite. I always tell my kids, like, it's really important to me that they show their elders respect, like not just my parents and their grandparents. And so I over-index on that because I am always worried about kids being rude and just being like, yeah.
I 100% agree. I'm not rude to my dad. I am just speaking. I'm very assertive. If I was rude to him or yelled at him, I would immediately be like, I should not have talked to your Nanu like that. And I'm sorry to him and I'm sorry to you. You know, it's the way. I'm talking about just being assertive. She should know that too.
Yeah.
That's all. So yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. There's too many rude kids these days. I want to slap them all.
There's so many. And it's like, and then a lot of parents, this is the thing that really bugs me because 50% of it is the child and how they choose to behave.
Yeah.
50% of it is, or more, is the parents. And when parents shrug and say, what are you going to do?
Oh my God.
I'm like, you're going to say something. You could slap them. You could give them a punishment. You could talk to them. You could take them to therapy. Like, here's my laundry list of how I answer. What are you going to do? And it's like, honestly, is this what you want your representative in the world to be? Because I truly believe, I know this is a little old school, but I truly believe like when you want to understand like what parents are like, you can look at their kids. And if the kids are like a hot mess, like obviously there's some kids that are just have their own personality and they're out there and that's not on the parents. But by and large, like 70 to 80% of the time, you can judge the parents by the way the kids turn out.
Yeah. But that's why you need more than one kid. Because then if one kid's like a hot mess and the other one's perfect, it's like, well, it's not the parent.
Then you can take the average. Okay, well, this is something you can change. I can't change this for you, Lisa. I've done my due diligence.
Yeah.
As a good scientist, I had 3.
You did. I definitely don't have enough variables to test. So
Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
yeah, so it'll just have to be Allie. But lucky for me, her temperament, she's a sweet kid.
How long are your parents going to stay with you?
A few more days. They've been here for like almost a week.
Okay, so I have to ask, like, what is your favorite thing about having your parents there?
I feel like just getting to know my parents more beyond just, hey, what's up, calling them, actually staying with them. That, and also when I come home, my mom's cooked, it smells good. So that, it just feels homely.
Because you haven't lived with your parents in like 20 years, right?
No, it's been, it's been over like 20 years. So it's been really nice, like morning, night, what my dad's morning routine is, what my mom's doing, and then helping them out too. Like every morning I come to the basement, put the heat on, make sure my dad's pranayama stuff is all taken care of so he can do his breathing, stuff like that. It's been just cool, and there's always someone at home.
Oh, yeah, that sounds fun.
It's lively here. So it's an energy. It's lively here. And they're watching. Oh, what's so funny is that I put a TV in the guest room. They're watching like old Indian movies. And I go to sleep early, right? Like I just do. And I've been sick all week, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'm falling asleep and I hear my parents in the room next to me or down the hall from me, an old Indian movie. And I felt like I was 8 again. And I remember when I was 8, I used to be scared at night and I could only fall asleep knowing my parents were still awake watching TV.
Aw, that's cute.
All week I've been falling asleep to that. And that's the reason they're here actually, because I'm scared to be alone in this house at night because I'm a big baby.
That's so cute.
And Samir's in Japan. So yeah, they're here for that reason. And that's exactly how I'm falling asleep every night. So that was neat. I was just thinking about that. I was like, I literally would just wait.
Aw, that is cute.
And I used to love hearing them talk at night because I was like, they're awake. But if they fell asleep and I still hadn't fallen asleep, then I'd be scared. And then I'd go to my parents' room. But that's a whole other story. So.
Aw, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny, like when we grow up and have kids of our own, what it's like to go home. I'm going to be going home in a couple weeks. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And whenever I go home to my parents, especially with the kids, the thing that I love normally is that my mom takes over everything. Like I can sleep in, I have not a care in the world. Something about being back in my old bedroom just makes me sleepy. I'm just like, I'm so sleepy right now.
Yeah. There's like a connection. I believe that. It's like Pavlov's dog. Your old room and sleep, back when you didn't have as many responsibilities.
And no worries, and the world, because of my limited understanding, the world was a safe place.
Yeah, exactly.
After my trip to my parents, I'll have to tell you what it was like for the kids to be with grandma and grandpa again.
You and I should go back to my parents' old house too and sleep in my old room, and you can go ahead and write on the wall like you did last time.
Oh my gosh, yes. The wall where we wrote like every guy that you ever had a crush on or dated and their famous quotes, what they were known for. Do your parents still have that?
No, they painted over that wall, but I took a picture. And of course I don't know where that picture is, but I have it somewhere. And I took a video before, but it's got to be somewhere.
Oh man, broken heart. I wonder if one of our kids will one day do that. It won't be mine actually, because I won't let them write on the wall. It'll probably be Allie. Thanks, Lisa, for this. And as always, thanks for listening.